Robert, welcome back.
Oh, thanks, Sharon. Great to be here. As always, we always have fun.
Yes, we do. Now today we're going to be talking there about men and the common mistakes that they make in relationships.
Yes. This is just a few of them.
Well, I'm sure there's a big list. We haven't got enough time for that.
We men make a lot of mistakes in dating.
Yeah. So you talk about being a man. What do
Yeah.
you mean? Because a man's a man, surely.
Yeah. I think it's really important that a man claims his life and his identity. If let's just say he wants to be with a woman. I think that women today are looking for a man who's strong, who they can respect, who knows himself. He's clear on who he is. He's present. He stands in his own power. I don't mean power over others, but his personal power. And so his personality reflects a vibration of confidence. Mm-hmm. And he's passionate. He's physically, he's capable of intimacy, and then he has purpose. He has clarity about his career. He's out in the world. Women respect that.
Yeah.
And then if he has those qualities, he's more than likely to be, a good provider, and he performs. Mm-hmm. Whatever his career is, whether he's running a business or he has a job that he's responsible for certain activities in the corporate world or wherever, he's good at it. Mm-hmm. And he does what he says he's going to do. So that's what I mean by being a man.
Yeah.
He also has a heart connection.
Mm-hmm.
He's capable of being vulnerable, and he's got some humility. Yeah, and he's fun. Women like guys that lighten things up.
Oh, certainly
It's
do.
very important.
Yeah, if he hasn't got that and he hasn't got drive and he hasn't got passion, he certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't be interested, and I'm sure a lot of women out there wouldn't be either.
It doesn't last long term because women eventually see it.
Yeah. And that's it. You can't fake that. You have to embody it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about what you say, it's about who you are.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
So you talk about flying boys.
Yeah.
If there are any flying boys here, can you explain what they are? Because they might not know that they are one.
Yeah.
And how is that damaging them in their relationships?
I'll just credit two people really quickly.
Okay.
John Lee, who wrote the book Flying Boys. It's an old book, and it's an old term that maybe you don't hear so much anymore. But what he meant is that a lot of men are conditioned because of media, because of advertisements, that the female form is used everywhere to sell products and services. And the reason that business does it, companies do it, because it works. Mm-hmm. And even women can admire a beautiful woman. It's not just men. Mm-hmm. The message to young men, I think, is if you have a car that looks like this, or you wear clothes that looks like this, you'll have a woman who looks like that.
Yeah.
It's as superficial as you can get. But I think a lot of men are conditioned to judge a woman by her appearance. And that's the opposite of what a woman wants. Because a woman is a being. She's a subjective, eternal being. But because of the conditioning...
Yeah, marketing doesn't say that. It never mentions look on the inside.
No, just this is how she looks. She's young and beautiful, and you can have this too. And this is what you need to do. Buy our product or service, and you'll have that. Which is ridiculous. But it does work. And it's easy for us to be conditioned. So let's get back to flying boys. What John Lee talked about is a lot of men, if they have unresolved issues with mother, they're hurt and angry. And so they can take it out on women, and a lot of them can pursue women, but because they're conditioned to be superficial, they're only after the outer. Mm-hmm. And so once the newness of an intimate relationship or a sexual relationship wears off, they start picking the woman apart. They start being critical and judgmental, but really, what they don't know, and it's hard to convince someone, it's really unfinished business with Mama Bear that they're projecting onto this female, and that gives them their exit strategy. Mm-hmm. And they get out. And of course, women have been victims of flying boys for centuries. There's a lot more out there than you know, and a guy could say, oh gosh, I'm that. Once the newness of the sexual relationship wears off, I start looking at other women. Mm-hmm. Men tell me this all the time, men clients, and you have to work on it.
Because we've spoken about this before. Otherwise you're attracting the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing as women who attract flying boys. If they don't break that pattern, they're always going to get them.
Yeah.
But if you are a flying boy and you want a purposeful relationship, you're never going to have it unless you break that pattern.
Here's the problem with flying boys. is my teacher, Dr. Pirakos, who was one of the creators of bioenergetics and the founder of core energetics. He had a very interesting philosophy. He said every time a man enters a woman with his heart closed, even if it's his girlfriend or wife or some fling that he's having, it hardens his heart because he's using the woman for his own selfish gratification. And it hardens his heart, and it becomes a pattern over a while. And so to me, this is where I'm linking.
So you're growing the neural pathways in your brain.
Exactly, it's a new pattern. So then when Miss Right comes along, someone that you could go the distance with, settle down with, have a family with, you don't see her because you're programmed to think with your erotic feelings, and then your heart closes. And it can be very, very lonely life for men. And you know, I work with men that are flying boys in their 50s. Usually think, either high school boys who are very promiscuous or act aggressive with women, or young adults, where you see that. And then some of them outgrow it and they settle down and all that. But a lot of flying boys it becomes an addiction in a way. Yeah. And they're doing this in their 30s, 40s, 50s. And, a lot of women get hooked by it. And so that's why they do it. Because women have this daddy wound and they'll hook up with these guys. So birds of a feather flock together. So I think that if they resonate with this and they're lonely and because sex for itself is very empty, and so they want something deeper, but they have to heal that broken heart and connect the heart, the pelvis, and the head. And when these three get aligned, they attract a different type of woman. Yeah.
Of course. And so actions speak louder than words, don't they, in relationships?
Yes. So I think a lot of men, sometimes they'll see a woman that they're really attracted to, and I'm not talking about flying boys now. Just a guy who would like to meet someone special, and they start pursuing a woman, and if a woman is meeting you halfway, you can pursue her, but if she's just not available and you keep kicking the door down, I think men feel hurt, and it lowers their self-esteem, and sometimes they withdraw from dating. And I say to them, don't take it personal, because there are many reasons why a woman might not be attracted to you. She might not be ready. She might be in a new relationship starting up. She may have unfinished business with another partner. She might be in a relationship and just kind of exploring a little bit. And so you can't take it personal. Just let it go.
Yeah. She's not ready.
She's not ready. Let it go. Or she's either not ready or not the right person for you. So to me, relationships have mutuality. So if she doesn't feel you're right for her, then she can't be right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not a match, just say, okay, next.
Yeah.
And ask someone else out. So some men are very, very sensitive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they take it very personal. And I say to them, come on, man. Step out there. There's a zillion women who would want to be loved by you. You have a lot to offer. So I think men need to step through that and maybe just have a motto. I'm not taking this personal. If it's not flowing, then let's move on. Yeah.
Nice. And I think it's very important to find somebody who you can have a friendship with as well, because the physical at one stage or another usually fizzles out. That passion burns out, and then you're left with nothing.
It doesn't last forever.
No.
Yeah. So you have to work on it after that.
Yeah.
You have to work through issues that come up, little resentments, criticisms that come up between couples. You work through it, and you can bring that passionate vibration back to a certain extent, but it's always, the longer you're with the person, the more kind of work that it takes. So you want to come back to that newness, that freshness that you had when you first met. But let's face it, being in relationships is not easy. Everyone's hard to live with. I know I'm hard to live with. Except for you, Sharon.
I'm perfect.
Most people.
Perfect.
Yes, but you're the ideal woman.
I am.
So yes, so back to men. It's kind of like, is there a friendship? And if you go through a difficult time, let's say, God forbid, your business bottomed out, or you lost your job, is this the type of woman who's got your back? Or she's only there when things are going well, when you're bringing home the bacon, and then if you don't, she's looking at other men. If she's not really the type of person who will be your friend and stand by you through thick and thin, do you want to commit to her in a long-term relationship? And I think men should ask themselves, because some men do get caught up in the outer beauty of a woman, and sometimes they don't look beneath that to see, what are her real values, and how do you know? You have to ask.
Yeah.
What is it that if you don't ask, you won't know. And some people are afraid to ask because they're afraid the person will withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just ask a personal question and they withdraw from that, then there's your answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. So I think that in the dating process, it's really great to ask a lot of questions. It doesn't have to be like interrogating or intimidating. Just say, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? What are your values? What do you think about men and women standing by each other through thick and thin and those types of things?
I think that's so important because then you're actually building a relationship, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's not just a sexual thing. It's like you're building a relationship that you could actually have long lasting.
It's a deep friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether we're looking at men or women here, it's very vital that they both do this.
I know. I remember Marianne Williamson, who was a wonderful teacher of the Course in Miracles. I went to one of her lectures once in LA on relationships, and she said, focus on the friendship and let the passion come and go. I always remember that because I felt, oh, that just touched my heart. Because if you've got a friendship, you cannot have hot sex with someone every night for the rest of your life. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, of course, young people, their hormones are through the ceiling. Every time they see each other, they want to rip each other's clothes off. But that's something that's new. It's in the newness of a relationship, and it's exciting. But it's not what a real relationship is about long term. It's more about that friendship, that bond, that support, that unconditional love, that you know, people can enjoy for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So I know that you help people,
Yes.
men and women, and
Yes.
you run free courses in Sydney.
I do. One of the courses that I run is free, that I love to offer to the public. Been running it 15 years. It's called Heartfelt Relationships. It's really for singles or people in a relationship and they want to raise their vibration. They want to be a better catch or create the best possible version of themselves, Sharon. So they come to this course.
So they might not even want a relationship, but they want to do it for themselves.
Exactly. They want to have the best version of themselves to share with the world.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do this in Sydney, and we run it every couple of months. It's called Heartfelt Relationships, but it's really about enhancing and expanding the vibration of yourself and letting go of old patterns and challenges and blind spots that we all have because we're human. And clearing those out and just feeling a lot freer. So I love when people come in at 9 o'clock, they're a little bit nervous, what's going to happen here? And then they go home and they feel like they have a bunch of new friends, a room full of friends. So it's great for me to watch that.
And I've done a few of your courses and it is exactly that. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to find out, you could look on the internet on relationships.robertkirby.com. It'll show you when the next course is coming up in Sydney. Or you could email Shada. It's info@robertkirby.com. That's info@robertkirby.com. If the guys had a question, because this is about mistakes men make. If men or women or the guys want to ask me a personal question about relationships, it would be robert@robertkirby.com. But if you're interested in booking into the course, it's relationships.robertkirby.com or info@robertkirby.com. That they can get the latest and that. So yeah, I mean, listen, we men make a lot more mistakes than this, but these are some of the common ones that I think that cause men to get disappointed. And so if we can get that out of the way, and we'll always make mistakes, but not these.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's the idea of sharing, and as always, it's wonderful hanging out with you. So thanks for this.
Thank you, you're welcome, and I look forward to the next time.
Thanks so much. Blessings.